Hello and welcome back to Addison the 35th podcast, brought to you by the great folks at Just Baseball Media. Really appreciate all the folks over there. Our guy Elijah Evans, our guy Preeta Appel, Aram Layton, of course, our guy Jack McMillan. It's been a great time to have fellowship with those guys, to talk to them, to have us aboard rocket ship, which is Just Baseball. Like I said last week when I was talking to Elijah Evans, who is the head of operations for Just Baseball Media. They just added Future Sox as part of the Just Baseball Media empire, having James Fox, having others here. I'm just blanking on my guy Ian Eskridge's name. I shouldn't. He's a Wheaton North Falcon. I should never blank on Ian Eskridge's name. I'm sorry, Ian. Having them join the crew here at Just Baseball is so awesome. Dylan Barnes also, who does a show with our guy Elijah Evans here on the Just Baseball Network for Future Sox. It's always great to have those folks and love that this whole operation is growing as we keep on going down the road. My name is Herb Lawrence. I should have got to that first, but you're already here. You probably already knew my name was Herb Lawrence. Ecknerwall23 on Twitter. If you are following over there, if you want to go to Blue Sky, if you're a Twitterverse or just want to have a little more fun on Blue Sky, it's my name, herblawrence.bsky.social. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can go over there and do that. It's just my name, Herb Lawrence. I've been MIA a little bit because I've been working other jobs. I'm Jamaican. I got multiple jobs. I'm not Jamaican. That's just a joke for you older folks who understand that reference back in the day for the In Living Color. But I was at the Bears game working in a crew. So I was a utility working yesterday. I'm recording this on Monday, August 18th, working as a utility on the field for the Bears-Bills game. So I really didn't see any of the Chicago White Sox game on Sunday because we were there all day long. I started there at 1, ended there at 2 a.m. So that's why I am doing this show right now at 12:30 on Monday instead of yesterday. So sorry it didn't come out earlier on Monday, but I'm giving you the reason why. Because I have to work these multiple jobs, folks, because I need to do this show because this is my favorite thing to do. This is my passion. I love talking White Sox baseball with you folks, but I can't just be a lazy bum and just do 1 week shows talking about the White Sox. I got to go and work and earn some money for this family. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I live in a house now. I don't know if you can see right there. There is a fireplace behind me. I'm fancy right now. So we're out here kicking it out there in Elgin. So to afford this type of stuff, I got to work different jobs. So I am sorry that didn't come out earlier this morning on Monday, but hopefully you understand what's going down here. If you want to send me an email, me or Ryan Herrera, who does the Cub version of this show, send it to addison35th@gmail.com. Our guy Luke has sent one in, and we're going to get to that at the end of the show. We will also preview the Atlanta Braves series that's coming up later tonight through Wednesday for the White Sox. Also, we will talk about that phenomenon, which is the Savannah Bananas that took over Guaranteed Rate this past weekend. But first, we'll start with the Chicago White Sox, and I'm going to be very negative. But let's start with something positive. Lenyn Sosa. He's been kicking some tail the last 18 games, I believe. 70 plate appearances. He's hit 7 home runs in that time. His slugging percentage during that time is over 600. So good for Lenyn. I crack on him when he does something, baseball unintelligent. But the one thing that Lenyn Sosa can do is hit that baseball and hit it hard. He's got 16 home runs on the year. I think by the end of the year, he will have over 20 home runs, which I think will lead the White Sox this year. He has the bat tool. Sometimes he has the glove tool. But with the White Sox already having Chase Mydroff on the team, already having Colson Montgomery on the team, and Miguel Vargas on the team, I don't know where you're going to play Lenyn Sosa necessarily. If he keeps on hitting like this, you play him because his bat plays. You're going to have to find a spot for him. But if we're going for the hierarchy of, hey, which players the White Sox going to prioritize more as far as Miguel Vargas, Chase Mydroff, Colson Montgomery, or Lenine Sosa, you can put Curtis Mead in there if you want to. It's number one, Colson Montgomery, I believe, at this point. Then it's Miguel Vargas. Then it's Lenine Sosa. Then it's Chase Mydroff. So he might, get more at bats than Chase Mydroff eventually, especially if he keeps on hitting like this. He'll find his way into the lineup. But I wouldn't be surprised if the White Sox want to shop him in the offseason because they have a bunch of middle infielders / first base replacements that can do a lot of things. And somebody can look at Lenine Sosa being, I think, only 25 years old, hitting a bunch of home runs, and seeing what former White Sox have done as soon as they got out of the White Sox system. Gavin Sheets, who's had a decent year out there in San Diego, slowed down lately. And then the phenomenon, which is Andrew Vaughn out there in Milwaukee. I'm guaranteed there's a team out there is looking at Lenine Sosa and it's like, he's doing all right for himself. But you know what? We get him in our system, just like the Brewers got Andrew Vaughn in their system. I think he'll be a rocket ship. Now, I just think Lenine Sosa to clean up the baseball IQ stuff. If he cleans that up, I think the kid will be as good as he can be. Borderline all-star for me, especially if he plays second base. Because with that power, it's undeniable. You're not going to find a second baseman like that can hit that many home runs. I think if you give him 550 next year, 550 at bats, he's going to hit 25 plus home runs. You could see that coming. You could see him squaring up the ball, seeing the ball a little bit more, a little bit deeper. Yeah, he won't get on base. He's a swinger. He's a free swinger. But if you're getting that type of production from Lenine Sosa, you know where you're going to find him? In the lineup. So I got to give him his kudos. And then yesterday, Davis Martin went to the 6th inning with a no-hit bid. It was broken up by Yaz. I'll tell you what. You know who broke up the no-hitter? Yaz. Mercy. Yes. I didn't even know he was a Royal. But he gave up the hit to Yaz, and that was his only hit in the 6 innings that he did pitch yesterday. So Davis Martin, another guy that I can see a team coming to get because he's just a solid 3, 4, 5 pitcher back into the rotation guy. He's got a sub-4 ERA this year. Just a solid pitcher. His kick change is really kicking ass right now. And so I think he's probably what the White Sox want to keep. But he's, as far as the rest of the youth movement, he's a little long in the tooth. He's 28 years old. He's a grandpa as far as this team is concerned. And so he's already got years taken off. I think next year will be his first year of arbitration because, remember, he pitched back in 23. I'm trying to think, 23 or 22, and had a decent year. At the end of the year, he had a bad game that blew up his ERA, and then got hurt the next year. And so he accrued another year, and he'll be arbitration eligible soon. So I'm sure the White Sox see him as really inexpensive because he'll still be not anything that will break the bank. And the White Sox don't have a lot of commitments as far as money. But if somebody's going to come to you with a solid deal to get a Davis Martin on their team, you got to look at it, especially with the White Sox starting rotation pitchers coming down the pipeline. And I know this year hasn't been great for Schultz or Smith, but I think that those guys are going to be penciled in as starters either in 26 or 27, where we might not have a year. So the White Sox might be trying to sell high on Davis Martin, what he brings to the table. Enough of the positivity. I mean, the White Sox came out of the All-Star break on flame, the best team in baseball for a while. They were just so good. The month of August started. They won 2 games in a row. But since that, the beginning of August, they have lost 11 of 13 games. Then they have played their last 9 games versus AL Central opponents. You want to guess what the record is in there? 2-9. They have lost 7 of their last 9, all to AL Central opponents, and got swept by the Royals again. So for the year, they have gotten swept by the Royals again in Kansas City. They just can't win. That's 14 in a row lost in Kansas City. Remember, Kansas City's not that good. Not at all. You got people like Jonathan India out here beating you. Yeah, it's out here beating you. I'll tell you what. You know what the best player I ever told you who beat me on a bloop single? Mike Yastrzemski. It's got those players like that beating you all the time in Kansas City. Beautiful ballpark, by the way. Beautiful city. I love Kansas City. I'm not a fan of their team. I am not a fan of their fans necessarily. They're not twins level, but they're up there. So when we're losing to the Royals, I'm extra mad because that's a team that is no damn good. I know that we're woefully terrible. Now the record of 44-80 on the year for the 2025 White Sox. But whenever we lose to the Kansas City Royals, especially down there at Kauffman Stadium, I get extra hyped up. I get extra mad. But the White Sox right now are in a bad stretch. Will Venable's boys are not playing good baseball right now for you or I. It's just very sad to see that a team that we were very excited about out of the All-Star game kind of has regressed back to who they really are. They hit a hot streak, and that was good. It was good and fun. You got the 20 games of Colson Montgomery where he hit 10 home runs in there. You're like, oh, the future's here. We're here. We're going to be surging. I even had a topic about the surging Sox. But then reality hits you. This still is a bad team. Yes, they're more entertaining than last year, and I've said this plenty of times. They're still a bad team, a really bad team. 44 wins with 80 losses. They're on their way to another 100-loss season for the White Sox. That would be 3 seasons in a row of 100 losses or more. Really piss poor after having the worst regular season record in modern day baseball history in 2024. They're going to be slightly better this year, but still a ways away to go to being competitive. I thought after the All-Star break, how well they're pitching, how well they're hitting. I was like, okay, maybe this could be a little shorter because then you got some people down the pipeline. Braden Montgomery is down there in Birmingham tearing it up again. So he's running through levels down in the minors. You're like, oh, Braden Montgomery's going to be here by 2026 the way he's hitting right now. You got Colson Montgomery. The Montgomery Ward is going to be rocking in 2026. We're going to have Chase Mydroff leading off. We're going to have all these players. Kyle Teal doing work. Edgar Carroll doing work. Miguel Vargas was hitting for a while. Man, we're going to be in the house. And then reality hits you, and it's like, yeah, you're still really bad. And this is not going to be the thing. This is not going to be the year for the White Sox fans to get hope for 2026. And that's good. It's kind of a sobering, bringing you back to reality type of thing because I want that. You want that. You want the White Sox to be more competitive. But I love that it's more sobering and it's more of a wake-up call to all of us to say, okay, this is really what the team is, especially versus AL Central opponents. Like, as I said, they've lost 7 of their last 9 to AL Central opponents. Luckily, they get the reprieve of the Atlanta Braves on the road tonight through Wednesday, and so they can maybe muster a game or two versus the woeful Braves, but we'll get to that preview a little later. But you're not going to be competitive in the AL Central by losing games to teams in the AL Central. They're not as good as they were last year either. The Tigers were one of the best teams in baseball, the best team in baseball for a while. They've fallen off, and then they came and to guaranteed rate and took 2 out of 3. Competitive series, excellent series, but they still won 2 out of 3. The Guardians, they've lost 10 in a row sometime in this year, and they've gotten hotter than crap in this year and been trying to chase down the Tigers. They came into guaranteed rate, grabbed 2 out of 3. And then the bugaboo, which is the Kansas City Royals, swept the White Sox down there in Kansas City. So until you can actually compete and beat the teams in the AL Central, there's not going to be any type of hope for this team competing as a whole in the AL. So the White Sox are at a bad spot and a team that is not doing well this year. But you know a team that is doing well at Sox Park this year? Savannah Bananas. Can you believe it? The Savannah Bananas are a thing. Now, somebody asked me my feelings on, well, asked Twitter their feelings on the Savannah Bananas. And I wrote on Twitter, I was like, they're not my cup of tea. I'm a 46-year-old man who grew up with traditional baseball and watching the White Sox and all that good stuff. So they're not my thing. I have no children, etc. But they are excellent for baseball. Not good, excellent for baseball. They, and people call them the Harlem Globetrotters of the baseball. I get it. And I get it. If you want to go there, cool. I wouldn't, but go ahead. And they bring great fun, excellent fun to the ballpark where that's what the game is supposed to be. The game is supposed to be fun, and that's why kids love it. That's why families love it. They have nonstop entertainment, and the CEO, Jesse Cole, is all about serving the fans. He's not about charging exorbitant ticket prices, even though the secondary ticket market this weekend for those games at guaranteed rate, ridiculous prices. I saw prices up to thousands of dollars for seats to go to the Savannah Bananas. And that was what the tickets were worth. Like, if somebody's willing to pay that, that's what those tickets are worth to those people because of the product they put on the field. And they also kind of give back an homage to the players that have been at that ballpark previous. They've been doing this tour of their teams around MLB ballparks, and they came to Guaranteed Rate Field. And I was like, okay, they're going to have a good time. They're going to do their Savannah Bananas thing. They're going to dance. They're going to do the trick plays. They're going to have that guy with the stilts take a couple pitches out there. It's going to be an enjoyable time. But when I saw AJ Brzezinski take it at bat and then put on the tools of ignorance and get behind the plate, and then Jesse Cole, the CEO of the Savannah Bananas, introduce number 56, Mark Burley. When he introduced him, I damn near jumped out of my seat because I get to see Mark Burley pitching to AJ Brzezinski once again, maybe for the last time at Guaranteed Rate Field. Not even Guaranteed Rate Field anymore. Sox Park. That was so exciting. Like, Burley only pitched to, I think, 2 batters. Classic Burley. Gave up a single, and then ground ball out. I'll tell you what, Mark Burley, yes. That was the first night. And also, they had Chance the Rapper debut some of his new material and also some of his classics coming out of center field, dancing with the Savannah Bananas, dancing with the firemen who were the Savannah Bananas opponents for the weekend. Like, that's fun. All encompassing entertainment throughout the game for the Savannah Bananas. And they sold out both games. You want to know how many sellouts, and I'll put those in quotes, the White Sox have had this year? Not opening day. They did not sell out opening day. Technically, their sellouts are 38,000 plus. I'm going to count June 6th, 36,000 plus for Mexican Heritage Night as a sellout. And then the 3 games, July 25th through the 27th, versus the Cubs, were all over 38,000 attendance. The Savannah Bananas did that easily. Easily this weekend for Guaranteed Rate. And look at Sox Twitter. Look at Chicago. There was a lot of things going on this weekend. The Air and Water Show was going on this weekend. The Cubs were playing at Wrigley Field this weekend versus the Pirates. The Bears played, as I told you, on Sunday night. And yet, people are like, I'm going to see those Savannah Bananas. I'm having me a time at the Savannah Bananas at Guaranteed Rate or Sox Park. And I just want to tip the cap to those folks because it is good to see that entertainment, fun can still be at the ballpark, especially Sox Park, because we know the last couple of years, more than likely, fun has not been on the menu for baseball fans in Chicago who go to Sox Park. But I digress. I want to get to my guy Luke McDowell's question of the week. And if you want to email us a question, it is Addison to 35th at gmail.com. I got to take my sunglasses on night. If you're watching on YouTube, I wear my sunglasses in the day so I can. Luke McDowell asked, Rob Manfred was talking division realignment due to geography. I'm not sold yet, but my ideal division would be White Sox, Cubs, Brewers, Twins, and Cardinals. Lots of rivalries there. Do you guys think that having the Sox and Cubs in the same division would help strengthen the rivalry? Those teams would be fighting for the same prize, the division title. And we really appreciate Luke McDowell's question there. Very informative, and one of the things that I've been fighting for years. He brings up, if we're going to do baseball realignment, which we should, if we're going to keep divisions, which I think we shouldn't, and I'll tell you why. Divisions back in the day made sense because you're traveling by train or car. So you want to stay close. You want to have a White Sox back in the day Detroit game, a White Sox Cleveland game, White Sox Kansas City game. Those games by train can happen. You want to play them more often and battle them for the division because they're close in proximity to you, and then you go to the playoffs. Now, with air travel, well, how easy it is to get around, the usefulness for divisions is over, and the expanded playoffs tell you all that. Every team plays every team this year, last couple years. So, really, I don't see the usefulness for divisions anymore. But if we're going to do it, let's make it more exciting. Like I said before, Twins most hated, Royals second most hated, Guardians third most hated, and fourth most hated in the division is the Tigers. But when I grew up back in the 90s watching baseball, we as White Sox fans absolutely despise the Milwaukee Brewers. Absolutely hated Phil Gardner's Milwaukee Brewers. Going up to County Stadium, terrible. And it was led by Hawk Harrelson, who also didn't like scrap iron. Like, we had a rivalry with those people because of the proximity, because of all the animosity we had towards them. And I think that it gets bred out because you played so many games versus them. If you were at any of those games on July 25th to the 27th that I referenced earlier versus the Cubs, electric atmosphere, as always, at those ball games. But there was very little fighting. One of the things that I've always talked about is that I don't like going to opening day, and I don't like going to Cubs or Yankees games because there's a lot of animosity, a lot of fighting that goes on that I'm not with. But there was a lot of love this year, but, kind of like a good banter between Cubs and Sox fans. I want to get back to the point where I don't like them Cubs too tough. And the Cub fans be like, can't stand the White Sox. And so Luke's question about realignment and having the Cubs and Sox in the same division and taking a couple of their rivals, the Royals, I would take the Cardinals for the Cubs, and the Brewers can be like the mutual rivalry team. If you want to be like Luke, and I think he said the Twins in there instead of, let's see. No, he said the Twins, White Sox, Cubs, Brewers, Twins, and Cardinals. I would substitute the Royals because that natural rivalry with the Cardinals, you don't want to break up. The Royals have a rivalry with the White Sox, as I've told you before. I don't like them. And then you have the Cubs and White Sox, natural rivals. Cubs and Brewers, natural rivals. White Sox and Brewers, natural rivals. Like, be perfect. I would love that. And yeah, I'm sad for the Twins or the Guardians or the Tigers, but I'm sure you could put the Tigers and the Tigers and the Reds and the Guardians and the Pirates together, maybe with the Twins, and have that division. I'm in, Luke. I would love realignment. I think it would bring excitement to the ball game. Imagine 12 games versus the Cubs. Just imagine 12 games versus the Cubs a year. And you're fighting for the same thing as Luke asked. The same thing, a division. You think you talk shit right now to your Cub fan friends? Imagine if you win 7 of 12 and get the BP Cup and drink out of that BP Cup every year and taunt your Cub fan friends like, hey, enjoy whatever you're doing, but we got the BP Cup. That's ours now. Instead of the 6 games they play right now. Double that. Oh, in love. Traveling down to St. Louis twice a year. Not a great city. Still. Going up to Milwaukee twice a year. Excellent. Sign me up, Luke. I'm for it. Again, if you want to email either myself or Ryan, Addison to 35th at gmail.com. Addison to 35th at gmail.com to send us a question, and we will answer it right here on our show, either myself or Ryan. And I'll be sending this over to Ryan to see what his thoughts are as far as that question by Luke, and we really appreciate Luke. As for tonight's and through Wednesday's series with the Atlanta Braves, the White Sox are down there in Atlanta. It'll be Aaron Savali on the bump today versus Waldrop. Hurston Waldrop, 3-0 with a 1.02 ERA. Aaron Savali is 3-8 with a 4.88 ERA. And then tomorrow will be Shane Smith, our all-star representative, 3-7 with a 4.01 ERA versus Bryce Elder, 5-9 with a 5.89 ERA. Let's eat. And then our guy, Yoendris Gomez, 2-1 with a 5.56 ERA versus Spencer Strider with a 5-10 with a 4.69. I think I did this backwards. I think Yoendris Gomez and Strider pitch tonight. Smith and Elder pitch on Tuesday, and Savali and Waldrop pitch on Wednesday. So I correct myself there. You'll be seeing Yoendris Gomez tonight versus the Atlanta Braves, and hopefully the White Sox can get 2 out of 3 at least versus the Atlanta Braves, or just look good. Look a little better playing the Atlanta Braves than they did versus the Kansas City Royals, because that's the one thing we want this year. Development, and also this team playing better. They've played overall better than last year, but still, I don't believe it's been satisfactory as far as a baseball fan and as a White Sox fan. I haven't seen satisfactory baseball as a whole as yet. And so if we can end this last 2 months or last month and a half just playing better baseball, not necessarily, I don't care about the wins and losses necessarily, because they're going to get to 100 losses this year. Just want to have cleaner baseball, better situational hitting, better fundamentals, not overthrowing the cutoff man, Luis Robert Jr. That's still happening, and it's so annoying. I'm like, you've been in the league for 5+ years. Get your stuff together. Understand baseball. Understand that airmailing a ball from center field to home plate is not smart, especially when it's a runner like Bobby effing Witt Jr. He's one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in baseball. You think you're going to throw him out on a single to center from second. Come on now. Start playing smart baseball. I'm going to wrap this show up because I'm getting mad now. I'm going to my Hawkisms. I wish I can cuss. Mercy. My name is Herb Lawrence. You can check me out on Twitter, EcknerWall23. That is my last name spelled backwards. ECNERWAL23 is for Robin Ventura. If you want to go to Blue Sky, it is herblawrence.bsky.social or go to Instagram. It is just my name, Herb Lawrence, and follow my adventures as far as me taking pictures some places that I can't take pictures. Like I couldn't take pictures yesterday while I was working at Soldier Field. That's like an NFL rule. So I was on the sidelines and I saw a lot of stuff. I could talk about it, but this is not a Bears podcast. This is a White Sox podcast. I just can't take pictures. So follow me on Instagram and I'll show you other things. I showed you a picture of Walter Payton before I entered the building, and I was tempted to take a picture of Walter Payton while I was leaving the building, but I didn't because I was dead tired at 2 a.m. in the morning over there on Soldier Field. So I will talk to you hopefully on Thursday. I would get a show out on Thursday just so I can talk about this Atlanta Braves series and see how the White Sox did, because I'll be actually able to ingest every single one of these games and give you a report on how I feel the White Sox have done this series down there in Atlanta. So for Ryan Herrera, who covers the Cubs for Addison the 35th, my name is Herb Lawrence. We will see you next time here on Addison the 35th.